Republicans have been absolutely nutty for overturning the election recently. Ever since Donald Trump lost, they've sprung to action to try to overturn the election, invalidate legitimate votes, sow dissent among the populace, and even smear some voting companies in saying that they're working with China Republican governors, Hugo Chavez, Venezuela, and Canada, to overturn the election and make it so Donald Trump will and remove Donald Trump from office, because he is the greatest threat to the world ever since Hitler existed. So, something along those lines or whatever. But they've been trying their best that they can to overturn the election. And as you guys have known, and we've covered extensively, it's been a complete, utter, and hilarious cope fest failure. But they have one more thing that they can do. One last meme up their sleeve to try to overturn the election. One last thing that they have. Remember how they said as soon as the election finished and lots of people were saying that they were going to lose, that Trump's going to lose, and they said, don't worry, we're going to overturn the election. These lawsuits and those lawsuits and everything, and we're going to release the Kraken, and we're going to, it's all gone. It's all gone. And then they said, you know what? Last lawsuit, okay? After the whole ballots being forged and voting machines turning all the ballots and them and vote counters not being in the room and them faking ballots and cooking up random votes for Biden and Harris and all of this stuff that only affected Donald Trump but didn't affect the rest of the down ballot Republicans, where the Democrats got absolutely destroyed, just obliterated. They didn't win almost any of the seats that they thought they were going to win, and even lost Florida by even more than they thought that they were. But don't worry, just because Trump won, that just means that they were able to overcome the fraud. Not that the fraud never existed. Just don't worry about that, okay? Just stop thinking too hard about it. Just don't think. They said that one of their last things that they threw out was the Texas lawsuit, which is Texas suing Arizona, Wisconsin, Georgia, and Pennsylvania for the way that they ran their elections, even though elections in the states are ran by the states, right? Cool and everything, right? So obviously the Supreme Court looked at it, literally just laughed at it, started cackling, ripped it up, and just threw it like confetti into their faces, and they walked back home with their tail between their legs. And Trump's like, my Supreme Court, they ruined it. They couldn't overturn the election. And, it's just they can't keep getting away with it. So they decided they can't keep getting away with it. And they're doing one more thing before the last thing that they can do, which is they tried to get in before December 11th, which was when the Electoral College votes. That didn't work, and the Supreme Court shot down that lawsuit before that happened. And then the Electoral College vote, they have one more date that they have in their mind, and that is January 6th. And they're going to be throwing everything they have at it, and which is now a congressman and other Republicans are literally, unironically suing Vice President Mike Pence in a last-ditch effort to overturn the election. So Louis Gohmert, if you haven't heard of this name before, if it sounds a little bit familiar, we talked about Louis Gohmert earlier in the year. When he had COVID, he got COVID. So he was in the halls of Congress, just spitting, coughing into people's mouths, crazy stuff. Obviously, he got COVID. Okay, so he got COVID because he didn't want to wear a mask any. And I think he wore a freaking handkerchief, like one of the Bloods. He just had a red handkerchief that he just held over his face sometimes when he was talking every once in a while. He got COVID, and he didn't tell his staff. His staff actually found out that he had COVID from a political article that was written on it. They had to read the article when they were looking up stuff about the senator that they work for. And then when they learned about it, they brought it to him, and he gathered all of them up into his small office so he can cough into their mouths and tell them in person that he had COVID. This guy is this dude should be arrested for criminal negligence when it comes to the way that he treated his staff. Republicans treat their staff like dirt. Less than dirt sometimes. They hate these people. They don't care for them. So Louis Gohmert has not been a good guy for any amount of time, and he decided that he's going to do one last thing to try to overturn the election. So The last-ditch effort filed Sunday came from Gomer, an 8-term congressman from Texas, along with 11 Arizona residents who had been nominated by the state's Republican Party to serve as electors. It comes over a week before Pence is scheduled to preside over the joint session of Congress, where the electoral votes for Biden and President Donald Trump will be tallied up. The electors already cast their votes 2 weeks earlier. Biden received 306, 36 more than he needed to win, and Trump received 232. The suit asked the federal judge Jeremy Kernodle. How do I pronounce his name? Wait a second. Oh, jeez. Kernodle. That's a really funny name. Jeremy Kernodle, a Trump appointee in Eastern Texas, to declare that Pence has exclusive authority and sole discretion to decide which electoral votes from a given state should be counted. While pro-Trump electors in some states, Biden won, have symbolically cast their own ballots, experts say that these votes carry no legal weight. So basically, this is what they're saying: is that Pence, whose only job is to watch as the votes from the Electoral College are being counted, he has the ability to pick and choose which electoral votes can be counted, which is incredible to me that the vice president of an administration can start picking and choosing which electoral votes should and should not be counted, so he could just basically make themselves like president of the world. It doesn't even matter what happened in the election; they can just pick and choose who won right there. The administration can. This is an insane thing. And it obviously won't go anywhere, but it just shows you how far the Republicans have decided to go when it comes to how much they're willing to throw away the literal just democracy, even representative democracy. This isn't even representative democracy at this point. This is just choosing the fate of your own election, no matter what. They're just throwing away the core tenets of the Constitution, and they're going to yell at liberals and like leftists or like communists or whatever for being anti-American, as they're literally trying to throw away representative democracy when it doesn't go their way, and saying that we're like anti-American, anti-freedom, anti this and that because we decide that we should probably close some bars while a deadly virus is ripping through the country. And we believe that we should probably have a couple more laws on who can and on how easy it is to get firearms. Like, they'll say that, right? These people are just crazy, and I don't even think that they know what they're doing, right? And the level of depravity is just really funny because this is Rasmussen, the furthest right-wing pollster in the country, and they said, and they quote literal Joseph Stalin saying, "Those who cast the votes decide nothing. Those who count the votes decide everything." They're quoting Joseph Stalin. Republicans' horseshoe theory has been completely confirmed, okay? Authoritarian righties and authoritarian lefties all have come together, finally. What is this, like 80, 90 years later? In an amazing horseshoe example of Rasmussen wanting Donald Trump and Mike Pence to overturn a democratic election because they don't like the way it goes, and quoting Joseph Stalin to do it. These people are out of their minds, okay? And this is just what we see when it comes to radicalization. The problems from radicalization are far deeper in there than just what we see. This is just the outbursts that come from it. Just like we talked about from the other day, where Lynn Wood talked about how all of the senators and senatorial candidates that are running are bought by China or by the deep state or something, and they're all like tools of communism or something along those lines, who want to usher in the next the Great Reset and throw all masculine men into femboy gulags where they pump their ass full of estrogen, something along those lines, and put cat ears on them and make them government mandated femboy girlfriends, something along those lines. Honestly, it's probably in there. I honestly wouldn't put it past them to think that's something that they want, so, or that they think happen. So these people, it's just so deep and they're being radicalized even further and further every single day, deeper and deeper into the web that they weave for themselves, and the people who want to make money off of making them believe, making people paranoid and scared, and making them believe that that communism is right over the corner. I'm sorry, dude. If communism was right over the corner, we wouldn't have so many dipshit lefties on Twitter acting as dumb as they are. They'd be out probably doing. I would only hope they'd be out doing like anything, literally anything, but cringe posting on the Bird app. But sadly, that's not true. Like the leftist movement is still very discombobulated after the McCarthy era for actual communism to be going anywhere. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to burst your bubble, but Joe Biden is not going to be ushering in the second iteration of the USSR, and he's like Marx's long lost great grandson or something. It's just not going to happen. Okay, stop doing this. Stop with the cope. It's not funny anymore. It's not even cute. It's just so freaking stupid, dude. And I mean, it is really scary how brazenly that they want to just dip into fascism, you know, how they don't even care anymore for trying to pretend that they're not, to try to pretend that they're working for the people. They've fooled people into believing that they're working for them while trying to overturn a democratic election that they just don't like the outcome of. And that's really, really worrying. But that's where we are right now. Obviously, it's not going to work, but it's just another example of how disgusting and depraved these people are, and the actual urgency that we need to make sure that these people never hold office again really is. They want to take power. They'd steal the election if they could. We have to make sure that they never get that opportunity.